Expert. Bruce is the president of Special Event Rentals. They do trade shows all over the country. What we'd like to do today is make this as interactive as possible. By the way, before we go any further, let's have a good round of applause for our friends at Charter who have sponsored today's event. And also are great players in the marketplace with the business community. So special thanks to our friends at Charter. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to show you like the 10 biggest mistakes all at once by a little bit of role playing at that booth. But also I want to remind you this. There's plenty of great food over there which Cindy is actually covering, but feel free to, I know it, but feel free to go over and refill your plates, okay? You won't embarrass us, you won't throw us off track because we're not on track anyway. But do that, and Bruce, why don't we just watch, just watch. And I know none of you are guilty of any of this, but I'm sure you've seen others.
This is like a silent movie by friends. Hello? Yeah. Which end of DiPietro today? The Business Expo. Oh, there's tons of people walking by the booth right now. Very proud.
What are some of the things wrong? And then we'll go point by point, but just yell it out. You don't have to raise your hand.
Location.
Location of what?
City. Him.
Invisible.
He's invisible?
Not
visible. Now, in this case, it'd probably be an advantage, right?
He's hiding.
Disengaged.
Disengaged.
On the
Okay.
phone.
He's making a one-way.
Who's on the phone?
On the phone. He's waiting, not making eye contact.
He looks retired. He's got the.
Everyone has a goal, right?
What are those bottles in front?
The wrong kind of
Anti-aging.
Wrong kind of beer. They're there for informational purposes only.
Giveaway.
I'm
giving you information.
Right, I appreciate that. Let me suggest a couple things to you folks. We just didn't make these up. These are an example of what you will see at this show from those that aren't here today. Okay? Mistake number one, way too much display there. Mistake number two, the table is a barrier. This is the Iron Curtain. Might as well be 10 foot tall and bulletproof. What's that? Al? 10 feet tall and bulletproof. This has something to do with that. But anyway, okay. Food at the booth. But worse than food at the booth, old food plates from your own people at your own booth. Okay, Bruce is eating right now. What does that say when somebody's eating and you want to go and ask them a question? What does it basically say about your importance level to them? Importance to them.
Crackers are more important.
See you later. The cracker's more important. Okay?
I was in the celery right away.
All the promotional material up front. In this case, it's pretty expensive stuff. Somebody just comes by. He's eating.
Hey, take 5 or 6. I don't want to take them home.
You think he's kidding? Have you ever been to a show where somebody said, take it all, because as soon as you take them, then I can leave?
All right.
No
Okay?
value.
No value. So take them all, they don't have any value to me anyway, which means they're useless.
So am I.
Oh, exactly right. Exactly right. Okay? Disinterest on his part toward you on the phone. I'm telling you folks, unless you're pregnant or know somebody who's very pregnant that you may have something to do with, I used to say that you're married to, but that's not a factor anymore. Okay? Don't take a phone call at your booth. Why? It shows disinterest in those that are there that are interested in you. Okay? If you've got to take the call and you're working the two-person booth, just remove yourself from the booth. Go to the hallway. Simple as that. So Bruce, why don't we go out and tell them the real stuff out here?
Real stuff?
The real stuff that we've got prepped for, because damn, he does these shows.
Right.
Are you just interested?
Are you eating in the...
Wait a minute.
He does these shows all over the place. And what we want to do is tell you some tips on what to follow. So, the first thing, Bruce, the first question that I have is this. We're going to do this in kind of an interview format. it costs a certain amount of money to pay the chamber for the booth. That's your only investment, isn't it?
Oh, not even close. That's the tip of the iceberg. It's what everyone here is doing. They're buying real estate at a trade show, basically, at a business show. And what you need to know is the reason you're buying that space. Why are you there? Now, I can tell you that last year at the Business Expo, I met with Charter Communications and actually ordered their service. We had an interaction, it worked out, and my company's now using Charter for all those things. But why are you at the show? John, we pointed out what not to do with your real estate. I think in a few minutes we'll show you what to do with your real estate. But as important as the real estate at the show is sending the right people to the show.
What do you mean, Bruce? Shouldn't you send the accountants and the people that you're not going to miss up front at your facility? Shouldn't you be just sending them there to kind of get rid of them for the day?
No, actually, the Center for Exhibit Industry Research identified the key failings of exhibitors at trade shows and what the attendees want to receive back from the exhibitors to get engaged. And one of the key failings is that 70% of exhibitors can't answer an attendee question on the product.
What does that say about the preparation of the company if at a public function they don't know a basic question, an answer to a basic question? What does that say about how the company is going to provide an in-depth answer for your solution, for your problem? They won't. So what would you do, David?
Go to another vendor.
Go to another vendor. So they're kind of like they've lost. See, basically what we want to do today is, what would happen to your business if in a 6-hour period you had an additional 3,000 to 5,000 people either go to your website, call you, or enter your place of business? Are you going to prepare for that? I mean, every head should be going like this. Okay, you're going to prepare, and that's
Sales tax
basically
weekend,
it.
John, the sales tax
Sales
weekend.
tax weekend.
Right?
Yeah.
Well,
Extra people coming in. So go ahead. So it's not just the cost of the booth.
It's not just the cost of the booth. It's been suggested that you should have an expert in the booth. It's also been suggested that you should have somebody that really knows your company mission and what your company's values are, so you can quickly identify who you're looking to do business with. So in this case, with the booth table is a barrier. You're not going to get any people into the booth, and what we want to do is we want to have somebody out in front of your booth that can qualify a buyer and then get them into the booth so they can speak to the expert that can answer the questions.
So if the traffic flow is coming this way, ideally you want to have your rep facing them to do two things. Read their name tag and make eye contact. When they read their name tag, what's on their name tag?
Name.
Their name. So you say, hey Dominic, how are you? Nice to see you again. And possibly extend your hand if unless the person's carrying a lot of material or whatever. But, hey Dominic, how are you? So, did you ever, blah, 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 blah. In other words, you engage in conversation, and then what you do, assume that this table has been moved, is you take them
Out of the aisle.
this is neutral territory. This is the neutral field. You want the home court advantage. How about when the playoffs, everybody fights for the home court advantage, right? You win that game against the bad teams, and then you get home field advantage in the playoffs. You want to get them into there.
Oh, I thought this was demilitarized.
The DMZ, right? Right. But you know what? Something very interesting. That same building that you're going to be in, that DCU Convention Center there. A few years ago, I went to a dog show there with my daughter, who had got a brand new dog. She wanted to go to the dog show. And there's all these same breeds, and they're not fighting with each other. And I said to one of the person who had the dog, I said, why is this Jack Russell not fighting with that Jack Russell? Here's what the guy said. He said, neutral turf. However, if you took those same two Jack Russells, brought one of them home and the other one walked by the yard, he'd rip his head off. So consequently, this is neutral territory. This is the DMZ. That's where you want them. That's why if you're going to have chairs at all, they should not be for you, but they should be for the potential client. They're guests. The guest.
So we have to have the proper staffing. We call that a soft cost, if you will, as opposed to a hard cost of buying the real estate. You need to be able to tell your story to the exhibitors, to the attendees very quickly, And one way to do that is with the backdrop, which is similar to a billboard that you see on a highway, something you see it, you capture it, it's 12 seconds, bang, you know what to do. It's okay, John, don't worry about my beer.
That's why we didn't know paper.
Another cost is paraphernalia, sales collateral material. Turner was nice enough to supply a simple sales collateral piece. You don't have to cover your whole table with them, but once they're in the booth and you start talking, it wouldn't be bad for the people to know, the attendees to know. Like this really doesn't say much inside, but it's a blank slate, and we can say whatever we want. Highlight bullet points, simple stuff.